This video is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. All right, welcome back, YouTube. This is Eric. With us tonight is Austin, Parabolic 33, here to talk about DHT. We're going to get into a DHT deep dive. And Austin here, he has been running experiments with DHT and using DHT. Probably has more experience with DHT than all of us here combined. So it's going to be a great show tonight, guys. Of course, it's going to be an interactive Q&A. Drop those questions in the chat. We'll flag those for you. And if they pertain to discussion, of course, we'll take them. And if they don't, then once the discussion is over, you have questions for Austin, for Ryan, even for Jaye, feel free. We'll get to those. So, Austin, what's going on, brother? It's been a while. It's been about 3-4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to talk so much about SHBG tonight. Well, it looks like we might be. But DHT is going to be the primary topic.
We may touch on it. I have some theories, but yeah, I've been good. I've been saying for a long time now that part of my plan is been at the start of this new year to put myself up on YouTube, started my own YouTube channel. And then very quickly, I used that to comment on your guys' deep dive on SHBG. And now I've kind of been a regular here instead. So more is coming on that channel. I've been, wanting to slowly implement this because previously I've just been focused on living the lifestyle of bodybuilding and doing the experiment. So it didn't leave much time for anything else. And now I wanted to take a 4 to 5 month phase where I just instead use all of my free time and prioritize that into doing more stuff like this, the podcasting and my own videos, content. There's a lot to do. So that's what I'm up to outside of this. But today it's about DHT.
Well, you definitely got the you got the name, you got the intelligence, you got the experience, and you also have the persona. You put some effort into your channel, and you're already well known in the community. I mean, by a lot of people, that podcast that you've been on. So if we can help in any way to get you off the ground and going, that'd be great.
This helps. This is it. You guys are amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
For expressing interest. Thank you for anybody who's interested.
Absolutely.
I just love doing this and I like to share it. And it's really as simple as that. But now it's time to share it a little more.
Yeah, it's what we need. And as a hormone community, as a society, actually, I mean, we need people who are, really willing to take deep dives in this and do it to help others, right? Like that's the goal. That's the reason why you kind of use your body to experiment and figure this all out so that you can let people know. And now you've kind of done all the experimentation and trials, so everybody else has it easier when they're trying to optimize. So that's great.
Exactly. And it seems like it's a pattern in, I guess, just how I like to do whatever it is that I'm doing during that phase of my life. I've mentioned this kind of series of 3 different decades of my life, but what I was doing previously mirrors this. And it's that I don't just like to get good at whatever it is that I'm doing. I like to get good at the potential expense of doing it differently. And some of the questions that I have, instead of just doing what works, I kind of half of the fun, maybe even more, is exploring, I guess. So tinkering, so that kind of is where these experiments derive from. And it just so happens that the last 3 years, I've been just like inundated between my personal life, which is very extensive, and blood work multiple times a week sometimes, and making notes, experiments, whatever. Now it's time to report some of those things.
Hey,
Yeah.
before we get started, I got a quick question for you because somebody, Phil, actually brought this up on one of the shorts I had put up with you in it, where yeah, it was about your transformation, about SHBG, all that.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, something about Boston Light. Anyhow, what on one of like one of your bulk pictures, you were doing a front double bi, or no, you were doing a lat spread. You were doing a front lat spread, and he
Okay.
said it looks like you have a lat injury. One side is bigger than the other, and I was like, holy shit! I looked at that and I was like, you know what? I wonder if he's on an angle or if you actually did have some sort of lat injury. What is it?
So I can't tell, but it's funny you mentioned that because I've tried to look at this, but you know, my surgery scar, as you know, the surgery I had from my dirt bike wreck,
that's right. Yeah.
to go into what was originally supposed to be a surgery to remove my left lung was actually they ended up getting in there, and my doctor, Dr. Cameron Wright, saved it. The entire lung minus like a 5% portion, I think he said is the best way to quantify it, that had scar tissue blocking air from getting in and out of it. So I had to have my lat completely cut through on the left side. Did you say what side it was?
Yeah, it would have been, let's see, you're opposing. So yeah, it would have been your right side.
So my right side looked smaller or bigger.
Well, it depends on the camera. If the camera was reversing, if you were in a mirror, then it would have been
it wasn't in a mirror. So, interesting.
Yeah.
But I've tried to look at pictures of my back, and it's so difficult to like, because there's a lot of shadows on that area. You almost can't have any shadows on that area at all.
Yeah.
To be able to like tell if the lats are symmetrical. But I've thought that, and I've noticed it too, but I'm undecided on it. But yes, I have an injury. You know, I still actually have this. You can't
okay, I got it up right now. It's your right side for certain. Your right side for certain. I have it up right now.
Is smaller.
Pull it up,
interesting. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I guess, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So my left lat ended up maybe getting stronger to compensate. I don't know. But yeah, I still don't have feeling
right
properly.
Here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See if
my left looks bigger. Wow. Maybe I just would have had high lat insertions prior, and maybe this changed the insertion point, make it lower. I don't know.
Interesting. Right? I don't know. I didn't want to get off the beaten path, but Phil had asked that. I was like, you know, I'll ask him about that.
I was actually really glad to talk about that because I've asked Jaye about that too, like to see if there were any pictures I had of my back where I could like tell, because I've wondered the same thing, you know.
I would imagine when they reattached it, they probably did it in a way that was extremely secure. So they may have, that's why it probably doesn't look the same. Because like when they reattach a bicep, you know, they like pull it through and out the other side and staple it. Like they really want to make sure it doesn't tear again.
Yeah,
so maybe
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, because the muscle never like detached from the bone. They just like cut through the muscle to get into my rib cage through the back. So
none of us are symmetrical anyway. I mean, some of us are.
Like that must have been one hell of a recovery.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I still don't have full feeling on that side. Like my skin there feels all pins and needles still. Like you could take me down if you poke my left rib cage anywhere along it. So I'm actually.
Now I wonder if that's got to do with your nerve signaling.
Yeah, it is. There's
nerves that, yes, it's not firing properly, so your certain fibers aren't hypertrophying because they're not getting signal.
Right. Yeah. You know, I would think. Yeah. I don't know exactly what's going on there.
Wait, you got nerve damage that makes it feel like pins and needles? Like right now?
It feels like pins and needles still. It was much worse after I first had it in 2012, but I still have it to this day.
Well, let me put that on my research list. Maybe there's something we can do. There's got to be something out there.
It happened to Big Rami. His lats disappeared because he had I think it was like some thoracic injuries for discs that were impinging, and he just wasn't getting the nerves to fire into the muscle fibers. And they were showing like pictures from like a year and two before, and then it like progressed and his lats just like vanished. It's crazy.
Well, yeah. Steve was talking about that in one of his new videos on the YK11, that he's like noticed in his progress pictures, I think his left calf, he's like thought he has some nerve damage in that, or in nerve damage somewhere higher up that's causing his calf to lose size. But in me, I mean, if it's my left side is bigger, I guess it seemed to have the opposite effect, right? You know, because my right side is the normal side. I don't know. Yeah. But it's very interesting though.
Yeah. Well, all thanks to Phil. He caught it. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for the question.
All right.
You want to
So,
just dive in? You want me to just
yeah,
dive
let's jump
in?
right in. Let's get right into the DHT, and then Ryan, Jay, and the audience will jump right in whenever they feel like it.
Okay, so I've mentioned DHT, in my experience with actually using exogenous DHT and my effects with it in other videos with you guys, but I actually personally I don't get any effect that I am able to notice from it. And this kind of ties into my SHBG protocol where I use the estradiol as the base without testosterone and use some other lesser suppressive to SHBG androgen on top. So like primo estradiol, nandrolone estradiol, DHB estradiol, etc. Those end up resulting in you not having DHT because you remove the substrate, you remove the testosterone. Although there is backdoor pathways for the neurosteroids to turn into DHT, I suspect it. I don't actually know. I should test that to see what my DHT level is.
Mhm.
My testosterone level is 27 or 23 nanograms per deciliter. So I know that's crushed. But in terms of my actual DHT level, I don't know. But I don't notice any effects from it mentally or, Jay, were you going to say? You're going to say something?
Can you? This is really. There's a really nice opportunity here to mention you're taking DHEA every day, and we can actually tell how much of that's being converted into testosterone, which is jack fucking shit. Because what do they tell you when you try to get on TRT? You just take DHEA; it'll convert into test, and you'll be fine, right? Well, look at your conversion rate. You're a healthy young guy. DHEA is not converting into a significant because you take 100 milligrams oral every day, right?
Yeah, I have stopped it before, like I mentioned, but I didn't really remember. Like I stopped it because I've run out or something. So it wasn't like a controlled experiment where I was trying to see if I noticed a difference with versus without the DHEA. But yes, in general, I take 100 milligrams a day.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
so
thought
you
that was a
think-
good opportunity.
Yeah, good point.
100
So you
milligrams of
think
DHEA.
a day,
DHEA,
yeah.
100 milligrams. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Me
and
too.
pregnenolone 100 milligrams too.
Ooh.
So Jay, if I understand correctly, you were saying the DHEA in me probably isn't converting to much DHT, you think?
Well, if you took a blood test a couple hours after you took 100 milligrams and your testosterone was only 23, I mean that. Just
I
off what
see.
you said.
Oh, but can it convert directly to DHT through some other way, skipping testosterone?
In
forget.
the steroidogenesis
Yeah.
chart,
It can.
it does not indicate a direct or any pathway that circumvents testosterone. It would have to go to testosterone.
Oh, okay. So it has to go to testosterone first. I wonder if pregnenolone maybe could then, because it's further up from DHEA in the steroidogenesis cascade. But yeah, it's not something I have committed to memory. But regardless, I want to say I probably have low DHT if you were to check on a blood test, only because when I've used exogenous DHT in various forms or just simply replaced testosterone back in my protocol, I am not able to detect a difference actually in any regards outside of one, which is the ability to tolerate very, very ridiculously high levels of estradiol when DHT is high, which brings me to, what I feel like I'm the, popularizer of, definitely not the creator of. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone else is doing this, but it's using the topical DHT cream as a method to get rid of gynecomastia. And when I say get rid of, I mean like actually getting rid of, in myself and a few other people at this point, like they were basically told by anybody who looks at it, who knows this stuff, that surgery is your only option, and they were there for a long time, years, on the orders of decades, and the DHT was still able to completely reverse it to the point nothing was visible anymore.
That's great.
So
actually reversing gynecomastia, like breast tissue growth. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Right. You know, I want to see this more.
So you're saying it would
widespread.
reduce not only the glandular mass, but the
Mhm.
breast tissue that developed itself?
Yeah. Well, the
Wow.
glandular tissue is the breast tissue. There
Mhm.
is fat that goes around with it.
Right. That's
But,
what I was referring to as the fat that kind of like gives it
right.
that cone shape.
For me, it does both. It's done
Okay.
both, and in the other people I've done it with, it's done both. Unfortunately, DHT is harder to get now.
Yep. Very hard to get.
Or yeah. Where did I want to go next with that? So yeah, DHT, I don't know why, if it's just me, but at least in 3 other of my friends who have used topical DHT and injectable DHT base weren't able to get like any acute benefits from it mentally or in a strength context or anything else aside from the ability to tolerate higher estrogen levels without gynecomastia symptoms or reversing breast tissue growth itself. So that's it. It seems like, you know, but I also know you guys talked with Ryan from Cortex Labs, and he's such a big advocate for that, for DHT.
Absolutely.
So much so that for sure I'm not writing that off, because if he says it, you know, I really value what he has to say a lot. So I'm going to keep trying, you know, see if maybe I can get some other use case out of it, because it seems like it has great effects mentally and stamina wise, you know, for some guys.
Some people,
Erectile.
yeah, unequivocally, like for some people, the increase in DHT helps like things like cognitive function, sense of well-being, especially like libido, erection quality. Like like, there are some cases where unequivocally it helps that. Like it, like dramatically increasing their DHT does help that.
Well, it's just I must be in a weird sample, because I'm like 4 for 4 of all of my closest friends who you know, I've been doing this for a while, who have taken DHT in various forms, and they don't get anything from it that they could notice.
Yeah, not everybody is going to. In fact, some people would make worse, right? So some people, when we add DHT, you know, the neurosteroidal function probably, I don't, this is just a guess, but probably overproduces the you know, the effect of probably too much catecholamine production, right? So now we have too much epinephrine and too much norepinephrine. I mean, that's just a guess, but yeah, some people it just actually causes a problem where now they get more anxiety, so they get this revved up feeling that where they can't calm down, right? So sometimes it has that effect on people.
Oh man, I wish it did that for me, just so I could see. But yeah, my friend Alec Matrevsky, who, you know, he'll like make fun of me for still trying to give it a go. He's like, you know, it's just kind of his character. He's kind of he's kind of blunt. So he'll be like, "What the fuck are you doing, messing around with that stuff?"
Well, and I imagine it has something to do. I mean, you know, there's androgen, and the receptors that the DHT is specifically having a function on are just androgen receptors, right? So
yeah, there's no DHT receptor. You know,
some people, they would experience the benefit of having DHT has this exceptional binding affinity to these androgen receptors, no matter where they are. And of course, we know that the HSD enzyme breaks DHT down in the muscle. That's why it's not anabolic, right? Or it would be. But
same with proviron.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And so, but for some, you know, definitively, there's a higher binding affinity of DHT to androgen receptors. Now, if you I'm sorry.
I said also the efficacy too, like it binds longer there and causes more transcription for each bind.
Yeah. Now somebody who's just really responds well to androgens, right? And this is typically bodybuilders. They, like, in my experience, like and this is probably what's happening to you, is you're just getting enough agonization with no matter what androgen is there, where you don't specifically need the DHT because you just have you're really receptive. Your receptors really have a really strong affinity to any androgen. right? So
Right.
so some, depending on people's specific binding affinities, as we've learned, everybody's specific androgen receptors are different. The androgen receptor is a little different for everybody, and some people have just higher binding affinities than others. So some people really need that extra binding affinity, and in your case, and then some people, a lot of people who respond really well to androgens, they don't need that extra binding affinity. They just respond well to any androgen.
Yeah. And that's kind of, it might be too soon because I think it's only been like 11 days or 12 since I have injected anything. I was just using NPP and YK11, which are both pretty quick esters. So, I went 10 days without anything. And then, now I'm switching to something else. I'm going to just take at 250 milligrams a week, probably something like that. So I actually tried the injectable DHT again, in this background state of having lower androgens.
Mm-hmm.
To see if I still could notice anything. I still didn't, but it's also, I think, I've only been on the down slope for like a week at this point, right? So, I'm going to definitely try it again later.
Yeah. It's a very interesting experiment.
Yeah.
Hey, Mickey, good to see you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an interesting question right here that Chris Daughter gave. So, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that there's no pharmacies in the United States that have.
I know.
Right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, why? I mean, it's, as we're going to go into here, it's got so many benefits, right? Or so many potential benefits. Like, as Austin has mentioned, that it doesn't have benefits for everybody. Some people just respond well to any androgen, no matter what. But
I still benefit in that, that other context I mentioned. But
yeah, right. So, what we could do, Jay? Like, we have some access to some pharmacies, right? Like, we could actually just ask them, "Hey, can you produce this?" And would you? Like, I don't
Be a
know.
big seller.
Law against it? I don't think there is. I mean,
they just buying. Well, the compounding pharmacy doesn't synthesize it though, right? They just get the raws and then they mix
the raws and create a cream out of it, right? Yeah.
Is it legal for them to buy DHT powder raw?
Well, as we've seen, like there's pharmacies that are producing methanol. There's one pharmacy specifically that produces methanolone. It's done Boldenone in the past, and now is DHT specifically not FDA approved? I'm actually not sure about that. I guess
I can't imagine why.
No, it still says like in the Wikipedia, at least, that it is still used for like androgen replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy.
It has that up actually.
If it's FDA approved, it's easier for a pharmacy to offer it then. So what we'll do, Chris, I'm gonna make a note to some of my pharmacies and ask them, would you be able to create DHT and
Sibian, not an anthe, if you're doing it for me.
Okay.
Just I don't know. I can't take it.
Do a DHT Testosterone.
I have multiple people coming to me about breast tissue growth and
yeah. What about you? Can't even get the creams. You can't even get the creams.
No, like not right now. That's what we're gonna ask. And I actually always tell everybody is like, hey, have you seen our channel? Have you talked to Parabolic? I said, go to his channel and email him. He can teach you how to actually reverse your gynecomastia. I tell people that all the time. Wouldn't it be great if we could actually get them the DHT cream to do this too?
Oh, sure.
People need to understand that a lot of people think they have gyno because they don't know what it is. And it turns out they're just fat. And,
right.
It's really sad because instead of getting gyno surgery, you can just understand that you don't have it at all.
Yeah.
And then you don't need the surgery because you can just bring yourself to match with reality and know that you don't have it. Because they're just like, look at my gyno. It's like, dude, no, that's your chest fat. You don't need surgery for,
I had this one patient that I actually had to tell him I couldn't treat him anymore because he was that bad. He had this other level of paranoia that he was experiencing all of these side effects. And what I like to tell people is there is nobody who won't listen to me that I haven't been able to help. Like, if you listen to me, I'll get you to where you're going. And sometimes it takes some time because sometimes you get some super difficult cases and you get people who are really sensitive, right? Especially to estrogenic or or certain side effects. So, but if people listen to me, but what I do have is people who freak themselves out and then quit listening to me and just go off the rails and just quit, right? And it's, you know, especially because they won't listen to me. So I had this one guy who was just convinced he had gynecomastia, and he was growing breast tissue, and he was like a skinny guy too. So it wasn't. So he was like, "No, look, I have it," and he sent me these pictures. He was so I have a phone full of fucking pictures of this dude's tits.
Sounds like it's an emergency.
Pictures, and there was no goddamn difference. Like I had this before and after, and I'm like, there's nothing here. You don't have gynecomastia. No, I can see it. I'm like, what here? What are you talking about? Like, and so definitely
you can feel it, man. It's painful when it's coming on.
What I've had to deal with is people's psyche, right? That's a major thing that we have to deal with, and that what I have to actually teach my employees to deal with is, you know, is people's psyche is a really important aspect to deal with. Like, and
well, it's like who isn't on androgens or TRT, who, you know, thinks about their nipples as a man. You know, it's not that much, you know. So guys, their worst fear of going on is getting gyno. So you start paying attention to it, and you know, so there's like a placebo effect of that. But also, I haven't looked into this, but I know that you know, like when a baby suckles, that's a prolactin stimulus itself. So if you're I don't know if constantly feeling yourself could be a prolactin stimulus too, just like the same way suckling is.
That's
but
interesting.
I don't know if it's ever been looked at, or if it would cause that, but it's, you know, I don't think it would help.
It's good to think that, because I have seen some evidence that it does. Like when you touch it a lot, if you're really concerned and you touch it a lot, you're actually increasing the potential for a response there.
But listen to this, guys. If prolactin is what makes you not horny anymore, and you're horny and you tell someone like, suck my tits, and they're like sucking your breath, and all of a sudden you get turned off, maybe it's not your fault. Like maybe it's still good, but like you got a prolactin release and now you're turned off. Then the other person's like, what did I do? You said to suck them, so I sucked them, and now you're all don't want to fuck no more. Like, what's going on here? Like, but their fault.
Post titty lick clarity.
Yeah, there you go. Whenever you're gonna do something real crazy, just rub them titties.
Yeah,
you'll feel clean and refreshed afterwards with a clear
mind.
Guys,
remember that. Don't suck them. She'll get turned off, and the night will be ruined.
Just
and if you could suck them, you might have to run it on that treadmill for a bit longer.
Yeah.
I guess the point was that, like, a large part of what we have to deal with is people's psyche, and like a lot of people are so afraid of side effects that they manufacture side effects that either don't have, or they blame side effects on testosterone that aren't really due to testosterone. I get that quite often too. Like, my foot hurts. Should I stop my testosterone? Like,
yeah. I can give an example.
You brought that up more than once. I think that's actually happened.
It has.
It has happened. Somebody actually said my foot hurts.
Is this the testosterone? Should I stop it? Yeah, I've had that before.
Wow.
Go ahead, Jay. What were you going to say?
So there's some things where people take over-the-counter supplements that their doctor told them to take because their doctor was making shit up. Like somebody I know recently was told to take SAM-E, but I actually was looking into methyl groups, and methylation is not only involved in the breakdown of neurotransmitters, it's also involved in the creation of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can be taking supplements with the expectation it's going to calm you down, and it's actually speeding you up. And so then you take more of it and more of it, and you're getting the opposite effect. But then you can also be like, well, it can't be this bottle, because my doctor said this bottle would calm me down, and I'm freaking out. Maybe it's because I went from 100 milligrams a week to 105. I bet that extra 5 milligrams is what's doing it, you know? And then now you're looking in the wrong direction. So just another example.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, damn it. I forgot what I was going to say.
I want to talk, Jay, I want to talk a little bit more about methylated vitamins and how, you've kind of, like, through a lot of research, we've kind of indicated that there's probably no reason to take those.
Well, no, hold on. Your terminology was incorrect. You said methylated supplements. This is supplements that contain methyl groups. That's different.
Okay. All right.
It's not that the supplement itself is methylated. It's like this is literally SAMe. These are like methyl donors.
It could be if it's like methylcobalamin or there's one other form, like if it's a methylated B vitamin.
Methylated B vitamin, right? Is that okay? So that's not what we're talking about.
No, because something being methylated is different than something acting as a methyl group donor.
Donor. I got you. Okay. All right. Good.
Hey, Ryan, real quick. Is it you that answers your IG DMs? Mike was asking.
Yeah, I do. I do answer them.
That's all. I just wanted to clear it up.
But I also apologize. I don't have a lot of time to get to my Instagram, so I don't. I'm not able to
Don't have a lot of time.
I'd like to.
You have no time. You have negative time.
Yeah, right.
Pretty crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah. See. Yes,
I've
I've actually read about it before. And so part of the problem, right, is people will be searching for gynecomastia and they'll be like always touching, and then that increases the potential that you have gynecomastia symptoms.
Well, I want to be clear on prolactin because I have a unique experience of having extremely high prolactin without high estrogen. There was no visible difference at all. It was just you just felt wet all the time. Like, why do I feel wet? What the fuck? But there was no growth.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention, but if you already have breast tissue, when it fills with milk will make it bigger. But the milk expanding the gland that's already there is different than you not having a gland there. And then all of a sudden glandular tissue is getting produced and ductal branching's happening and lobular development. None of that's going to happen from prolactin.
Okay. So there wasn't, I'm assuming that in that case, because you need the other cofactors for it, like IGF-1.
Like filling a balloon with milk. You know, the balloon gets bigger because you fill it with milk, not because the milk made the balloon become more material.
Yeah.
Did I get an analogy right for once? Holy shit.
That made a lot of sense to me. I got it. Good job.
Finally. If you guys want, I put together a little presentation about the enzymes that affect DHT because this is something no one has talked about, and that's what we like to do here is just
Absolutely.
Yeah,
let's do it, man.
This is the 3-alpha HSD versus 3-beta HSD.
I would love to do this. Let's
go to the outline. I put it underneath my name as a tab called enzymes.
Oh, there's a new tab there.
Yeah.
You
don't pull that up.
Yeah, sure. And you guys can hop in on this and read it along. You know, it's just some information here about 3-alpha HSD versus 3-beta HSD.
Okay.
And one of them is breaking down DHT, and then one is involved in the synthesis of glucocorticosteroids, mineral corticoids, progesterone, androgens, things like that. So one of these enzymes drives to make an enzyme, you know, become something different than one is like a breakdown. So just whatever you see in there that looks interesting, because it's
just to start, so the reason why DHT is not anabolic is because the 3-alpha HSD enzyme breaks it down in muscle mass, only in muscle mass. And that's why it does not agonize the androgen receptors in your muscles. That's why it's not anabolic.
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead, Jay.
And I did try to look up if there's a genetic condition where someone could be born without 3-alpha HSD, and then they could use, but like that would fuck up so many things that I don't know if they'd be able to survive. Like that'd be bad. But yeah, that's because you think, well, if it's a strong as hell androgen receptor, why does it not make muscles grow? Well, that's because it gets in there, and then the enzymes are like, you know, attaching to it, and then it becomes one of its. It looks like it turns into 5-alpha androstenedione. Or 3A diol is what we know it as, the shortened one. 3A diol, like 3-alpha and then 3-beta. 3-alpha diol, 3-beta diol, because one of them's in the prostate. When that happens, it can actually make the prostate shrink. So that's like the balancing mechanism. DHT stimulates it to grow, but the enzymes can break it down into 3-beta diol, which would bind to the beta receptors as well. So, yeah, I just thought you guys might find some of this interesting.
Are you talking about 3-beta androstenedione? Is that what you're talking about?
So they're go by different names. Like it'll say like 3-beta, whatever long name, and then in parenthesis at the end they have like the short one.
But a metabolite of DHT though, correct? Yeah,
it says like 5-androstenedione, 3-alpha, 17-beta diol, and then in parenthesis 3-alpha diol.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's the same one, but one of the main metabolites of DHT is
Oh, do that
actually
again.
estrogenic. Oh, I was
Those big
scratching
ass
my head.
arms. Look at those big ass arms.
Still? Oh man, I haven't measured them lately. They probably shrunk. I've lost 25 pounds or something like that.
Oh wow.
Did you really? Wow.
And how much
Yeah,
is
I
that?
haven't been to the gym in 4 weeks, and you
Oh.
know, my maintenance is so high. I need about 5,900, 6,300 to grow at the end there, and now I'm eating twice a day, 3 if I'm lucky. So that's a max of like 3,300 calories. So, you know, you introduce a massive deficit, you pull the androgens away, you stop training, you melt pretty
Quickly.
It's stable though. Like
Yeah.
I'm stable at like 227, 229 there, like, but I got down to that very fast in like maybe 2 weeks, something like that, maybe 3. But
So let us know, and maybe you've already experienced it, or let us know, like in there, while you're coming down, your androgen levels are coming down and everything is there a point when you actually feel better, like as far as even energy wise, less fatigue?
that's what I want to notice.
Yeah, because I mean, earlier in my career, I guess, like it was all about being a mass monster, right? I wanted to just get on everything and get as big as I possibly could. And because I love the results of what I was doing, like I never really paid attention. Like when I can think back, like I was like, a lot of times it's hard to get to the gym, mainly because I was so tired all the time, right? And so fatigued. And I never really thought like, I just thought, well, because when I was hypogonadal before that, I was tired all the time too. And then when I took large doses, I was kind of tired.
Androgens,
Yeah. And it's kind of like, you know, you have a lot going on, and the excess androgens from a few different mechanisms will cause fatigue and lethargy. So
I'll let you know. You know, one of the things I don't have a lot of fatigue at all. Like I actually have a lot of energy, but I'm prescribed Adderall, 20 milligrams, and I take caffeine, 200 milligram tablet in the morning. That's what I start my day with. But even still, I've always had, even before this, like a lot of sleep inertia for whatever reason. So like I wake up the first like 2-3 hours of the day sometimes, I am very tired. And then once I get going, like I don't ever have a crash at any other point in the day, like until I go to bed, and then I just fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I've always had a regular bedtime, you know, aside from like a couple days a week at most, where I sleep outside of my bedtime, and it's even then it's by only like 2 or 3 hours at most. Most days I'm in bed by 11 and I'm up by 9 or 8. I sleep like 10 hours sometimes, or 9 hours.
That's a lot of sleep, man. That's really good.
Yeah, I think I need more than most people. But as I was saying, androgens, I think if anything helped that sleep inertia that I was having. So like if anything, it's only been the opposite. But it's not very noticeable even in that. So I am interested in seeing if there's a difference now that I've lowered the dose. Yeah. I'm at 250. I'm going to do, well, that's another thing that might be different. I'm not taking just 250 tests. I'm doing 250 milligrams of bold sip with estradiol. So
it's like really-
it does at anything, like it's hit or miss. Sometimes you get a shot that is perfect. Actually, most of them are perfect. Every once in a while, you get one that debilitates you. But at 50 milligrams per milliliter, though, you get none. Like once I've got it down to 50 milligrams per mil, I've never had a single painful shot with it once it's that low. But at like 100, it's kind of, it's risky.
Or especially like 200 is a super painful.
Oh man, I couldn't even get it to hold at 200. I don't know how people do. It's got to have glycol or something in it.
Right.
Because I've done it in pure ethyl oleate too, and it still didn't even hold at like 125.
Oh yeah.
With pure ethyl oleate and like 30% benzyl benzoate.
Yeah.
Not to talk about that here, but
It's okay.
It's so, it's so I can take my own HRT, and have it not be painful. That's why I have to do this.
Yeah.
That's so I have control over things like that, and also know what I'm taking is what I'm actually taking too, and accurately dosed, etc.
Yeah.
But I'll keep you guys posted as the dose goes lower. I'm gonna switch back to test in like maybe a month or two, but like just for now, I'm starting this cruise off with just bolt sip and estradiol, and I'm gonna run my estradiol at half of my when I'm blasting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Especially it'll be interesting when you switch to test to see if there's any difference there in the way you feel. But like and I have a lot of people I've guided over the decades here that once when you start to get high androgens, like you start to get all sorts of different things can happen. Even especially for like some of the orals like reduction production and symptoms of hypertension, like androgen overload, things like that. And you can just get this, like you can hit a wall and it can be a fatigue. And I've even noticed like when I start taking oxandrolone too many days in a row,
I remember this.
I get that fatigue. And then but then when you back off the dose, like there's this area where you have this definitive better energy, just better sense of well-being. Like I can work throughout the entire day without even noticing any fatigue.
Oh, wow. Well, I
have
hope
you
so.
ever tried doing like oxandrolone and the next day stanazol and then the next day D-ball and then repeat?
I haven't. I would love to try it though. I'm not opposed to trying that. It's a good idea.
Yeah,
that'd be an interesting mix.
Yeah. So another thing for the people watching. So we just established that the HSD enzyme, 3-alpha HSD enzyme specifically, it breaks down DHT into muscle mass. That's why it's not anabolic. So when we talk about DHT derivatives, right, the derivatives are different enough from DHT that they are not substrates for this enzyme. So things like primobolan, oxandrolone, is super anabolic. It's 3 times more anabolic than testosterone. The reason for that is because it does not break down in muscle mass from this. It's the chemical structure is different enough where it's not a substrate for the 3-alpha HSD enzyme. So that's why they don't break down. This also means that some of these don't act exactly like DHT. So like when we say DHT derivative, it doesn't mean that it acts like DHT. Or proviron. Proviron probably acts the most like DHT of a DHT derivative, and it also is close enough. Well, it is DHT, and the only difference is it's C17 alkylated, right? So, however, that does not mean that it acts just like DHT. So, a great example of this, right, is dianabol. Dianabol and boldenone are the same exact chemical structure. The only difference is the C17 alkylation. And as we know, dianabol has a significantly different effect in your body than injecting boldenone, right? They're completely different when one is taken early. Again, the only difference in the chemical structure is that C17 alkylation. So that goes to show you that things that are C17 alkylated do not necessarily act like their parent hormone, right?
Right. And another example is even methyl 1 testosterone, which is methylated dihydroboldenone. So I've never taken methyl 1 testosterone or M1T, but I think that was quite popular back in like the Superdrol days. Oh, you have, Jay? What did it do
that
for
was
you?
the first thing I took. I was in high school. Or no, it was right
Wow,
after.
really?
It actually
I heard it's
Georgia
super
is a pro hormone, and pro hormones are legal. So it was like you could go buy it over the counter. Same thing with Superdrol, right? You could buy it over the counter. And people are like, "Oh, I'm taking this new pro hormone." It's pro hormone. It's not a pro hormone. It's
it's
a very
roid. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was at GNC and George Bush, the first one or second one, he made it illegal. And then when it became illegal, there was a fire sale. And so somebody we knew went into GNC with their paycheck, got their wife's permission, was like, I bought the whole fucking store. And he was reselling it to people. And he looked at us and he was like, look, I've got like 1 million M1Ts. Do you guys want some bottles? You can buy them $100 each, like whatever. And we were like, no, we don't want to do it. And then we went to the gym like we normally do on Friday night. We were looking around all the guys that were bigger than us. And we all looked at each other. We were like, let's go buy that
Let's
M1T.
do it. Yeah.
And so we went and got it, and we got our money or whatever. And then it was brutal. That stuff was so strong. There's 5 milligrams per pill. I was taking 2, and I got horrendous bleeding within like 2 weeks. And my biceps were so pumped after my curls that I would have the barbell stuck, and I was like, guys, I can't put the bar down.
No
I'd have
shit.
to come over and like physically release my biceps to get the weight down because the pumps were so bad.
What
Thanks,
what
Ultra.
do you mean bleeding?
Nose like bloody coming out of the nose, the
nose.
eyes, and even on the toilet paper. Like all my blood vessels had blood.
Oh my God. Oh man.
Yeah,
That's bad.
yeah. I brought up at dinner. We were eating like tuna with like noodles or some poor college kid meal together at the dinner table, and I was like, "Are you guys bleeding out of your ass too?" And everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you said that." Oh yeah, like everyone was like, "Yeah, we're all bleeding out of our asses. Like we probably shouldn't be taking this." So, like I noped out. And then the other guy took even more, and he stayed on it. But like, yeah, M1T this is from GNC. Like this was fucked up, and we were like,
I heard
just
it's
kidding.
like ultra potent D-ball. Like, I mean, actually, it's a metabolite of D-ball. Like, so I wonder if like some of the action that D-ball does is from its conversion of M1T. I don't know, but
and it
it's
says on
supposed
the
to be
bottle,
true.
this is liver safe because it's methylated, which protects it from the liver. So we were like, that was part of the selling point. Like, well, it's safe
that's
for
how
our
it
liver.
works.
It's methylated.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
Nope. No,
Yeah, there's your-
that's way stronger than D-ball, but yes, similar. Interesting.
All right. All right. So Austin, did you have further to go on?
Oh yeah, I did. I haven't even got to that yet. So let me see. I think it's in my tab. We don't have to pull up the study, but the name of the study is Anti-estrogenic action of dihydrotestosterone in mouse breast, competition with estradiol for binding to the estrogen receptor. Notice they say competition with binding for estradiol for the estradiol receptor, the estrogen receptor. Basically, it's been known and shown in other studies that DHT is able to offset and prevent breast growth from the action of estradiol. So it's able to oppose the action of estradiol through some unknown mechanism. And in this study, the way they've tested this is they took 2 groups of rats, but they had a group of rats with a non-functional androgen receptor and regular rats with a functional androgen receptor, and they castrate both, give them estradiol at varying doses and DHT at varying doses. And then they ended up just selecting the 1 dose of estradiol that was sufficient to cause breast growth, and then different DHT doses on top of that.
Mhm.
And I think it was basically all of the doses used of DHT were able to prevent breast growth, including in the rats that had non-functional androgen receptors. So the authors of this paper hypothesized that DHT acts as a competitive agonist with estradiol. It's hard to, find and double check these findings, because I've been looking the last 2 days for different studies that, kind of perfectly tested this, and they're very hard to find. So, I ended up coming up with a few speculations of my own, which is something I'm going to keep looking into further. But let's see if there's anything else about the study first. Yeah, the rats were given estradiol, including the androgen receptor defect mice, were able to have their breast growth offset by the implant of a DHT implant. So estradiol had no breast growth in the ones given DHT. So they speculate that how is DHT doing this? How is DHT able to prevent breast growth if these rats have a non-functional androgen receptor? And, you know, as we know, DHT has its action, or one of them, at the androgen receptor. So I posed a couple of questions about this, which I needed to look into further. And if it was possible, could DHT be working through a membrane-bound androgen receptor if these rats maintain the functional AR and in the membrane? Was this test at this time of this study, which was 1984, able to detect that? And they didn't have the awareness of this at that time. So, you know, they certainly wouldn't have been looking for that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I tried still to search to find more on this testicular linked feminization gene mutation that causes the defective non-functional androgen receptor is the language they use. And then I also tried to find exactly through what mechanism is the androgen receptor non-functional. Like, does it have a change in the shape where androgens aren't able to bind to the receptor and connect with it? Or is it something that happens subsequent to an androgen binding, and then downstream something goes wrong that prevents transcription from occurring? I wasn't able to find that. It's very challenging to find all that stuff. What's up?
Jaye will
I
find
found
it.
it.
Jaye
The
can find it.
androgen receptor generating gene was just didn't work, so it wasn't able to. The genes weren't. The DNA was not able to generate androgen receptors at all.
So sorry, say that again.
The part of DNA that is responsible for making androgen receptors wasn't there at all. So it wasn't like androgen receptor insensitivity. It was like it didn't even have any.
See, it's like, so you were able to confirm that, okay? Because based on like the language used, it says they have a defective androgen receptor or non-functional. Whereas I know they have other, yeah.
Yeah, let Jaye
Sorry,
speak. Let's hear what he has to say. No, that's fine. Awesome. Go ahead, Jaye. I want to hear this.
So the way it described the rats was feminized testicles rats. So or testicular feminization rats. So I just looked up what is a testicular feminization rat, and they said it's when the androgen receptor gene is broken. So then the testicles end up internalizing, and it's a feminized rat. And then the testicles are really highly prone to cancer when they're internalized like that. So that was the condition. But I did scroll down just now and read, and it said what's happening is the DHT is preventing estradiols mediated increase in the amount of total progesterone receptors in the breast. Because
that was another.
Estrogen, yeah. Were you going to get to that? Did I jump ahead?
No. Go ahead. I was,
okay.
But like, we got this. We got it. You know, I sent it to you also. So, you know,
teamwork.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's right above the graph here, and it just says DHT prevents the estradiol-mediated increase in the amount of progesterone receptors. And as we know, progesterone receptors are crucial for breast development, and apparently estrogen makes you have more of them. And this is saying that DHT prevented that from occurring. So
right.
That's one of the biggest reasons it fucked everything up.
Right, and that was kind of a totally separate conclusion I got to that I learned from this was that, you know, apparently that is the model, at least in these rats, that estradiol is what's responsible for generating progesterone receptors to be active. The number of them, actually. It says most of them, the progesterone receptors in the rats that were castrated and thus deprived of estrogen, had all of the progesterone receptors navigate to the the membrane, sorry.
I just found the name of the mouse. I'm looking it up for you right now.
The testicular linked feminization.
DC57BL/J mice. It's in the very end at the bottom.
Oh, so of this study.
Yeah, look, it's at the bottom there. It says it's on one of the last pages there. It says the fact that maximal levels of receptors in this experiment were less than half of that of the CBAJ mice is probably a consequence of the genetic background C57BLJ mice upon which the TA and TFM mutations are carried, rather than a consequence of the mutations themselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that part too. But like, I guess I still want to see, because like I guess I want to know the language, I guess, that was used to see if it was just an outright deletion of the AR by having lacking the genes that code for an androgen receptor outright, or was it like in some other way inactive? Just because I didn't read it myself to, see what they were talking about. Because I know deletion is a separate thing, but I just wanted to understand correctly that it wasn't a deletion and that it was a functionally defective one.
This is actually the mouse they're referring to that they used to breed it to make it have a different color. So they have mice that are the same, and then they take the genetic defect, and they also breed it with the defect that results in the color of the coat changing so they can tell them apart, which is kind of stupid. Because why don't you just fucking use some hair dye? Like, why do you have to genetically give them? Because you're adding another variable, guy. Like, we know you're cool. Like, did you do that just to impress everybody? Like, look at this, guys. Instead of just painting it or like putting a tag on it, I'm gonna like cross it so like it grows different colored fur. Pretty cool, huh? What about to dinner with me? Like, I don't know why they did that. That's ridiculous.
And they also noted that the tabby, like that color of the mice, that rats, sorry, I keep saying mice, rats that are tabby is like closely linked somehow to this defect of the androgen receptor too. You guys can keep talking and you can keep going with this, Jay, but could you point to me where the part about the TJM or TJF mice have no genes?
Yeah, what page is that on, Jay?
You gotta find that one because this is referring to a different mouse altogether here.
I see. Well, we can just skip over it. We could always skip over it too, but I guess just at the end of the day, that would be one of the questions I have. So the last thing that I posed as one of my questions of this study will reverse and I'll remind people that they're implying that DHT is binding to the estrogen receptor, not activating it and blocking DHT from. DHT is blocking estrogen from doing its thing at the estrogen receptor. And I wondered. Jay says he has it, but I want to make sure it's not a deletion and that it is a defective AR. Like we've talked about in other episodes about the importance of SHBG and how the SHBG receptor increases the level of transcriptional activity of the androgen receptor when an androgen is bound. So I am speculating that what if, like in the event it's not a full deletion of the AR, DHT binds to the SHBG receptor complex and then causes this increase in CAMP that then makes the androgen receptor active again. Because this study was done in 1984 and the SHBG receptor complex wasn't known about at this point. So they wouldn't have been able to rule it out. That's why I kept trying to go on and find more on that to see if the X-links, the X-linked testicular feminization. It says lack of functional AR. So I didn't interpret that as a deletion. So I still have hope in that case because like the lack of a functional AR to me doesn't mean that it's a deletion, because deletion is a separate process that they use in these studies and the experiments. So we'll have to learn more on that later, just like I wanted to possibly look at the genetic lineage of this testicular feminization linked rat, and if it's possible to find out whether it has an intact SHBG receptor globulin complex.
Okay, I'm working on it.
Yeah. What do you guys, does that make sense? Like what I'm speculating? So do you guys understand there's the speculation of the authors that DHT is working by blocking the estrogen receptor like a SERM, right?
Right.
And then, I'm going out on a limb, obviously, but because SHBG receptor complex wasn't known about at this time, what if that's how it gets its activity to work again, is by, DHT being such a potent androgen, it has high binding affinity to SHBG and would activate that receptor a lot. So, maybe that restores action in the androgen receptor. And at least in that language I saw there, it didn't seem like a deletion. You know, so it does still seem like there is androgen receptor architecture there to potentially become active again.
Yeah.
I think the ligand binding is what's broken. Stuff can't bind to it.
Right. So if the SHBG replace that, you know, maybe nothing needs to bind to that AR anymore. Like you don't need an androgen receptor if you're able to have, you know, an SHBG bound androgen at the SHBG receptor.
Yeah.
Total speculation, literally. So
yeah. I get what you're saying though, Austin. Like
yeah, you know, and I don't know, I don't have as many experience with clients as you, but this is where we take it to the real world. Definitely you can handle this, Ryan, but what are the side effects of people with low SHBG? Are they just only hypogonadal symptoms, or could they possibly have high estradiol symptoms too?
It's a great question, and it's very possible that they are experiencing that as well, because you have this you have this myriad of effects, and you know, like ironically people have similar side effects from low hormones and high hormones, and all of them are similar, right? So
yeah,
like low what are the side effects of low estradiol, right? It's anxiety, erectile dysfunction, fatigue, lethargy, right? What's the side effects of high estrogen? Anxiety, fatigue, lethargy, erectile dysfunction.
So they overlap.
Yeah,
right?
like they're all similar. Like, I'm like, one of the things I'm trying to like kind of coax out of people is it slightly different? Like, and there seems to be like people really in tune with themselves can tell if they're having high estrogen or low estrogen side effects, right? So they might be a little different, but they're similar, right? And especially to the novice, like it would be the same. So like what you're saying is like, yeah, maybe it is. It like the effects that I get from people with low SHBG, they're having this myriad of effects that kind of mimics or appears to be low androgens, but it could very well be high estrogen too. Like, yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like the balance, is that kind of what you're getting at? The estrogen to androgen balance?
Yeah, or a function of yeah, right. Just the imbalance.
Yeah. You know, so I wonder if anyone out there, maybe anyone watching, has noticed that you definitely don't placebo yourself into like trying to make my speculation a valid hypothesis, but I wonder if anyone has noticed that they've had more trouble mitigating gyno when they had crushed SHBG. Like if they remember back in the day when their SHBG was higher, maybe they had an easier time controlling their estrogen. So
It's interesting.
yeah, you know, I'll keep an eye out. I'll ask people, but you got to try not to lead people. Yeah.
How would this work? Yeah, go ahead and read that. I'm going to copy it down.
Dr. Edward Litchin used sinazolol to drop SHBG to control estrogen, per what he says. I have to think about that. It sounds initially at the surface counterintuitive. You would think a drop in SHBG frees up more test to aromatize into estrogen, but yeah, I don't know any other way aside from you're skewing the androgen to estrogen ratio by using a non-aromatizing androgen, and that thus controls estrogen by adding sinazolol, a non-aromatizing androgen, and then two, you raise your free testosterone, which is another androgen, so you raise the total androgenicity in the body to control estrogen with the androgen to estrogen ratio. That's how it sounds to me.
This video, by the way, was great. Dr. Edward Licton was a pioneer of using androgens to prevent to mitigate inflammatory diseases, right? And
wow.
And he found like, you know, a lot of them, and so he was one of the few doctors that, like, especially he was doing this earlier than you know, like 10 15 years ago when the entire medical community was completely against androgens. He was one of the only ones using them for inflammatory diseases. Like like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis and you know, things. And he was having the most success treating a lot of these inflammatory conditions. So I love Dr. Edward Lichten. And I did this Dana Bosa podcast is really great. It's a great one. But very interesting.
Is his stuff on YouTube, and is he still doing stuff, or is he like older and he's gone?
He's super old now, but he has written some papers on this. If you look up Dr. Edward Lichten, in fact, interestingly enough, I sent some of his work to my providers to kind of help educate them on the use of anabolics for inflammatory diseases.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was really beneficial. So I have used some of his work. Yeah.
That's cool that you did that.
Yeah. I have this educational platform where we try to get everybody on the same page, right?
Yeah. They're the doctors, but you're like the school the doctors go to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you know, like we discuss this a lot too. Like there's a fundamental foundational problem with the education of providers regarding hormones. They just don't learn about it. Like, so,
exactly.
You know, so some of this, as much as we disparage them, like providers in the medical community, they're not taught correctly. And I agree. Like, some of the problem lies in the hubris of some of the providers to think that they know it all and everything. But in fact, you didn't learn about these hormones in medical school. It's not in the curriculum. Like that's
no. Yeah, I didn't mean it in like a disparaging way. I just literally that's what it is. It's like you have this experience.
Yeah. So understanding that, right? Understanding that they don't learn about this in medical school, that then it makes sense that somebody who's dedicated their life to learning about this and who has experienced this on a more vast level than any doctor could have, would and that's kind of some of the providers, like, you know, that we choose to partner with is the ones that understand this aspect and share the vision of using that. So it's Andy Bose is a candy striper. So what I was also going to bring up though as well is what we've read on the SHBG receptor mechanism, right, is that, and one of the studies did point this out, that it seems to, depending on what sex hormone binds to the SHBG receptor complex, it has different effects, or it tends to affect more, like, you know, it increases the CAMP, PKA, but it does, it did say that, you know, there was no clear denoting of how it does this, but it does seem to have an effect depending on which sex hormone binds to it, right? So,
but it's more of like a volume thing, not
or it's
like
possible
really different
effect. It does for androgens, right? Where when testosterone binds to the SHBG, or DHT, when an androgen binds to the SHBG receptor mechanism, it specifically effectuates the efficacy of the genomic effect, right? The transcription of testosterone to the androgen receptor, right? That transcription. Now, it may be the opposite for estrogen, right? So when estrogen binds to SHBG, it specifically affects the estrogenic effect. The efficacy of the estrogenic effect. I mean, that certainly is kind of insinuated through a lot of these studies. But also there's some cross functionality, right? So the binding estrogen to the SHBG can also positively affect the androgen sensitivity, right? Or the androgen transcription. So even though there's some cross effects there, it seems like there's a lot of, so it's possible that if so much of the DHT binds all of the SHBG receptor complex because it has the highest binding affinity, there's no more estrogen can no longer bind to any more SHBG because it's all taken up by DHT. So then there's no increasing the efficacy of the estrogen complex inside the cell, right? So that's possible.
Very interesting idea. Like, I hadn't even thought of that. So that's, man, this stuff's so complicated.
Yeah,
but, that's cool. Yeah, that, like, so it's like they're DHT and estradiol are duking it out, but not at different receptors, they're doing it at like the same receptor,
Yeah.
So it's just
Erick,
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Can you pull up the tab called Jay's Notes?
Sure.
This was the best I could do for you, Austin, and I refined it as much as I could. But let's go ahead and take a look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh,
Where did you get that picture up there?
I don't
This
know. It
one
just
here?
appeared. It must have pasted in from something.
Yeah,
somewhere.
right.
I don't know where.
I like the
Hold on.
color.
Yeah, I probably got pasted in from a website.
I love it. So basically they're saying that DHT prevents breast growth through direct binding to estrogen receptors and subsequent nuclear translocation, which sequesters the receptors away from cytoplasmic estradiol interactions.
Right, but that was the author's, that was their interpretation, if it's coming from that. So we have like going to that source, is it linking back to the same study? Because at least when I searched through Scholar, like that was the only exact study I could find that was done with that methodology. So like basically this seems like it's another way to say what the authors what their hypothesis was to test further. And this like thing about subsequent nuclear translocation effectively sequestering these receptors, like that's just basically talking about the action of estradiol binding at its receptor and DHT inhibiting that. So like
Erick,
that's
No, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
It wasn't this. I pulled up one of the other references and I pasted in the
I'll
part. If you
take
wanna
care
pull
of it.
that
Fix that.
back up again real
I'll
quick.
fix it for you.
Uh,
Yeah. All right.
this
You wanna,
one-
I was
This
gonna
was a study on the
fix that,
rat's
but-
uterus.
Yep.
So I ripped this out and I pasted it here. This is gonna be hard as shit to read. Actually, I have a little trick here. I can paste the formatting onto it.
I can
whatever.
fix it. It'll only take me a minute to fix it if you want.
The little paint roller icon. Yeah, there was a hotkey for it that I already forgot. But
Stand by, guys. I apologize. Let me do this here so you don't have to watch me work.
I think I got it. I just had to get the paint roller to work. Now it matches.
I got it. It's all set. We're good.
All right.
Okay.
So in the
pull that up.
immature rat uterus,
Increase
high
that.
concentrations of androgens competed specifically with estradiol on the estrogen receptor, and this competition was stereospecific for C19 steroids that bear a 17 beta or 3-hydroxyl group. Very low
Yeah.
affinity ligands such as testosterone could not compete with estradiol at equilibrium, but it decreased the association rate of estradiol on its receptor. High doses of 5-dihydrotestosterone, which is DHT, provoked in vivo as in vitro the nuclear translocation of RE. The nuclear receptor thus formed displayed the same sedimentation constant as they induced by estradiol. We can include that the weak affinity binding of androgens to estrogen receptors are sufficient to induce its nuclear translocation in vivo, provided that androgen concentration is high enough to occupy the estradiol binding site. Conversely, progesterone does not bind RE, could not provoke its nuclear translocation. So this is more just another study where they concluded that DHT is powerful enough that it can actually move an estrogen receptor where it can't be bound up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's the only thing that's happening. So this doesn't negate anything you're saying. It's just saying this is a thing that an androgen can do.
Right. And I did see that too in the study that I'm pulling from, because they mentioned MCF7 cells that in a different study, a group of different authors were able to demonstrate that at high enough concentrations, DHT was able to have effect on the NCF7 cells, which is a type of breast cancer cell line. And DHT, when it was like high levels, was able to actually cause the same growth that estradiol was able to. So in this study, to test this themselves, they gave both of the groups of rats DHT only without estradiol at high doses to see if they could induce breast growth with DHT, because like they thought if in the other study they were able to do it in the MCF7 line with high doses of DHT, that maybe they could stimulate breast growth with DHT also, but they failed to do that here. So I think, I'm definitely not going to form an opinion on this action at every possible site and every tissue, because this could certainly be true, but I just think this is just my opinion. I would lean towards, in the breast tissue example, that it's probably working through some other way, especially because of the high concentration required to achieve it, at least in the breast tissue. But this is interesting though, because I didn't even know until we started looking at this that this was a phenomena that happens, that androgens at these high concentrations can even act like estrogen. So like, this is definitely new to me, and it's very interesting. So
I don't think it's saying it's acting like estrogen. I think it's saying that it's moving the nuclear receptor away, translocating it so that estrogen can't get to it. It's like it's hiding it. But it's not
acting. I guess it's like acting in that it's binding to the receptor, or it has some sort of affinity to the receptor.
Yeah.
Like, they know very low affinity ligands such as testosterone could not compete with estradiol at equilibrium, but decrease the association rate of estradiol on its receptor. So the association rate is the rate in which estradiol molecules bind onto their receptors. So DHT, this is a stereotypical agonist antagonist effect that they're talking about. So the fact that it can do, it might not cause estrogen like action in every tissue, but at least in that like the study I was pulling from, like they mentioned that other study where in the breast cancer cells, the MCF7, the DHT was able to act like estrogen just straight out. So that's very new to me.
Very, very interesting. So
very technical.
What all this highlights is just the complexity in all this, right? So when we have an action of any hormone, and we're always trying to say, okay, we're always trying to define how did that effect occur, right? And the fact is, not only is it super complex through multitude of mechanisms, it could be a bunch of these mechanisms all kind of coalescing and coming together to create this overarching effect. And it doesn't come from one place, right? So it's like,
and like it's different in different tissues too, even. Right. So
it's kind of leads to why this is so confusing.
Yeah, that's excuse me. Here from Mike Horner on the Mike Horner project. When he's on prep, DHT gets super high. He runs no AI, high doses of
must be
what is that? Oh, DHT. I'm sorry. DHT derivatives. SHBG is always crushed, but never has gyno. So anecdotally, the theory checks out, at least for Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Interesting.
Thanks for sharing that, Mike.
Thanks for that input.
It's a great picture too.
Cool.
Great.
So that's cool.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, but that's cool. He's testing his DHT. Not many people check that. It's like $150 test. So people skim.
Dude, Mike's the real deal, man. He's the real deal. I was watching one of his videos. He drives really far to get his DEXA scan. Like
he drives really far all the time. He's talking about all these gyms he belongs to, but he has to work out the Y because that's where they'll let him film. But he'll drive like 4 hours to a gym. I was like, what the fuck? Are you insane? I hate driving 15, 20 minutes to the gym. It's like, I want one right here in my house. That's it. That would be sweet.
And what he just said there actually is cool. He just added me on Instagram. I followed him back too. We haven't talked yet, but I've seen he's been on here. I've watched him, and I know he's done stuff with Paul too. So
yeah, he's in Vegas now. He actually met up with Aaron Burke. I saw him on IG. Cool. That's pretty wild. Great. Mike, did you guys plan that, or did you actually literally bump into him at the gym? You could answer me in the chat. That'd be cool.
We wanted to have Mike and Austin on together for a cannabis episode. I think that'd be a blast.
Yeah,
that's right. We mentioned that. I forgot about that.
Oh, that was him. Oh, cool. I would totally do that.
He's a licensed grower also, yeah.
Oh wow.
He still grows now, I think. Right?
Yep.
I wish.
Okay.
I wish I was it. But he said too, if his DHT is going up in prep, that's something that Dr. Todd Lees have alluded to, or actually said outright, that when he uses Primo, his DHT goes up from the same dose of test. Like his DHT level maxes out at, say, I don't remember what he said, but X level of DHT with just testosterone. When he adds a DHT derivative, his sensitive DHT is able to go up. Yeah, higher. So because, you know, he's speculating that you close off the aromatization lane, you force more tests down the 5-alpha reductase lane.
Yeah, makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would support that, you know, what Mike said. That's cool.
I got another study we can look at if you guys want.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is where they tried to use DHT cream instead of testosterone for TRT. So these were hypogonadal old people, and they just gave them DHT cream instead of testosterone, and then they evaluate for 6 months, and they evaluated a few parameters. I put the link directly over where you were just at. So if you go back to the Jay's note tab again, I deleted everything in there. I replaced it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw you doing them while I was in there.
Oh, yeah. Early morning erections improved transiently in the DHT group at 3 months of treatment, and the ability to maintain erection improved in the DHT group compared with the placebo group. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so people following along, these people were not given any testosterone at all, and this probably shut their HPTA down more. So this is a instance where people have no estrogen, or like low estrogen, low T, but they're just on straight up DHT. I did a search on the dose they used, and it said this should have been a super physiological dose, because this is 120 to 250 milligrams of DHT cream a day. So that's a pretty good amount of DHT.
Okay.
Let's say bioavailability on that, like 10%, or is it 20?
Depends on where they rub it.
It's like 10.
So it's like
As
using
we-
12 to 25 milligrams of DHT injected approximately.
But yeah, it's really cool to see was that they said they measured prostate with transrectal ultrasonography, and they said the prostate weight PSA did not change.
Well,
So let that sink in. They were on straight up nothing but DHT, and their prostates did not even change.
Yeah.
Not bigger, not smaller. Hematocrit only went up 2 points. Hemoglobin barely changed, 14 to 15.
That's cool. And I think like that makes sense too, because I'm pretty sure, I'm not that familiar with this at all. It's super unknown area for me, but I think estradiol was somehow involved in prostate weight growth too. So that would make sense if they were just given DHT. It would lower the LH and FSH, thus lowering tests, thus lowering E2. So, you know,
It's more
I
about
can see how this would be the case.
proving the stigmatization that DHT is the sole driver of prostate problems is just kind of it's just bullshit. Right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot people still think that. Like that's been so debunked at this point.
Yeah,
Well, most
like
BPH
officially
cases are not
too.
even confirmed.
What'd
They're
you
just
say
going
there,
off-
Jay?
Most BPH cases are not even
Oh.
confirmed with imaging. They're just like, oh, have trouble, go pee-pee, me give you finasteride. Like they don't even, they have machines for that. You can test it. That they don't, that's what their dumb little book says. Patient can't take pee. Oh, they have to wake up to pee-pee. Okay.
Yeah, I love jizz. Here, have some
Friggin'
Viagra and go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Oh God. I look back on my past because I had BPH symptoms for over 10 years because I had low T.
Mhm,
I could have easily been a victim and my life could have been ruined.
mhm.
If I had trusted doctors, my life would have been ruined.
I have all kinds of people who are losing hair, have a lot of hair loss, and it's the low testosterone. So we give them testosterone, and all their hair grows back.
It could be either one. Like when I was on 200 milligrams a week, my hair was shedding in piles.
Yeah,
It was horrifying. I was like whimpering in the shower, like, is this really happening? What the fuck? Oh my
No
God.
way.
And then when
That's
I dropped it
short-term.
down to 100 milligrams a week, I can't even get it to come out. Like it will not move. I
yeah.
have nothing
Oh,
on my
wow.
hands in the shower. It's just done.
Oh,
Like
wow.
there's it can happen, but I wouldn't say that's DHT's fault. It's complicated,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it depends on the person.
I'm not the hair loss guy at all, but I think there's androgenic alopecia, and then there's something where it's
Intelligent effluvium.
Intelligent effluvium, that's it. Where it's like a short-term shedding from like hormonal changes or stresses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay had actually talked about that before.
What causes what? We don't have to go deep down this, but is there like one general cause for the intelligent effluvium?
Well, in this case, it wouldn't be intelligent effluvium. There was another word for it. We already forgot. Because I only looked at it once, but basically, like, oh my God, look who it is, Dr. Clementine. That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
He's
Great to see you, Doc.
great. I love that guy.
Yeah, we had a great time and a great show. Thanks for coming by, bro.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. What did he say though? I got too distracted.
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't even read what he said. He said, "I better late than never." Great topic. Wish I could have caught it sooner.
No worries, dude.
Well, like essentially, like the hair shedding from androgens could happen for pushing it through the androgen telogen phase faster, right? So you're pushing it through these phases faster. So not only your hair is shedding, but it's also growing faster.
Yes, because when the cycles go around, they go quicker, and so the less time you spend in anagen, the less time the follicles are growing, and then the longer they spend in a resting phase, the more they're going to atrophy. And that can lead to miniaturization because they're not growing as long and they're resting for longer, and so you can be shedding because shit's going into the resting phase. So yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
but there is a definitive difference between hair loss and hair shedding, right? And hair shedding, usually the hair is being replaced. Even though
I don't think I've had either. Like, so yeah, as to what Mike said in the chat, like I like to say that I would sacrifice the hairs on the top of my head to the muscle gods too, but I can't be saying that here and sounding so cocky when I haven't lost really any of it. So if it started going, I can't say I know what I would do. You know,
once it starts going, you just shave that shit. You probably got a nice round head.
I used to shave my head all the time, like just
there you go
by choice. So. But yeah, oh man, so much hair on my back though, on my chest.
It grows everywhere but your head, right?
Yeah, I never had any body hair at all before, but
you do now.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think this study with the DHT improved erectile function in seniors when we just gave them DHT, and it shows that, and I see this too, like a lot of like that's one of in my analog or in my what's the word I'm looking for? In the steps I try, the strategies I try for people with erectile dysfunction, one of them is increasing the DHT because that works for a lot of people. And so it kind of defines that there's inside the blood vessels, there are androgen receptors, right? And agonizing these androgen receptors releases NO2 and allows for dilation of blood vessels. So DHT really does, with a high binding affinity, really does affect these androgen receptors inside the blood vessels.
Yeah, better pet that
Let's get the cat on here. I want to ask some questions.
This is Max. He's 18.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
What protocol do you have him on?
Looking at you like, don't you dare tell them.
Yeah. Felimazole, so it's an anti-T4. It's a T4 like antagonist, or it stops TSH because cats get hyperthyroidism when they get older. So
that's amazing.
That's his regimen as of now.
Good.
Yeah.
He looks good and healthy, actually. I had a cat that was like 20 years old once.
Yeah. Yeah, they go.
All right. Austin, did you have any more? That we keep going on tangents. That's what we do on this channel. We're just going on tangents.
We went through that, the only study and then the subsequent questions and speculations I had from that. So we went through all that. I mean, there's stuff I didn't really get, like, that I didn't totally cover the other times that we had talked about covering. So if we need that, I could of course go on about that. But I
And
think
also, everybody in the audience, if you have questions, please go ahead, drop them in the chat. We got Austin here. He loves talking. He loves answering questions. And we have Ryan here who likes to answer as well. So if you drop
Right.
those, we'll flag them. We'll get to them. I do have a question. Before we carry on, Austin, we switch gears here. I do have a question for you, if I can find it. Just give me one moment. Actually, I don't know if it's for you. It might be. You can answer. Everybody could take a stab at it. How low does one's SHBG level need to be in order to get more DHT benefits, specifically for more masculine characteristics, minus 16 nanomoles per liter? Currently still not satisfied with my characteristics. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat so you guys could read it.
Yeah, I think I read this one before, but you go ahead.
There you go.
So what this sounds to me like is someone's provider is fucking them over.
Mhm.
And this is what happens when your provider screws you over. You end up trying to find sidestepping methods to try and get the care you needed in the first place. This poor person is being underdosed so severely. They're trying to tank their own SHBG just to get more free androgens. Shame on their doctor. This is revolting. But anyways, I would say what they're trying to do is they're trying to look more masculine, and their doctor doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So, but what you need to be more, DHT is the primary driver of masculinity. Like it's decreasing estrogen's activities we talked about earlier. And it's like, it's even in the adipose tissue level, it is really helping to get rid of subcutaneous fat in feminine areas. DHT is what this person needs. They want to look more masculine.
All androgens do that when there's enough of them, but yes,
but DHT that really hits that androgen receptor a lot harder than testosterone does in ways like what we saw with that study where it said testosterone was inadequate to mess with estrogen, but DHT could. Like DHT and other androgens are in that level that can do that. So you're right. It's not just DHT, but like oxandrolone can do it. It's pretty good at adipose destruction in those in subcutaneous areas. So that's what this person does not need to lower their SHBG. What they need is more androgens.
Yeah,
I would encourage them to get another doctor or come to Hormones for me immediately, like right now.
They've been erroneously, they have the erroneous thought that SHBG is the enemy in this case, and it's really not. It's actually.
You think so?
What's that?
I think they're desperate, man. I think they're just looking for solutions to make up for their low dose.
Right.
And I think what you said is exactly correct, Jay. They've
been taught that, well, in order to get your androgens or DHT up, you have to get your SHBG down. And that's just not the way that's not the way. SHBG is very important. So we just need to get your androgens up. That's what we have to do.
Specifically the really strong ones. And
I'm going to echo that same answer.
Nice.
This next
it kind of makes it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We got a super chat here.
Thank you, Terrence.
From Terrence. Thank you so much, bro. Really appreciate super chat. Proviron, yay or nay as a TRT add-on? Any experiences using it?
So I'll take it. Or sorry. You go. Okay. I think the best obvious use for Proviron on TRT is like you just started TRT and your SHBG is still high and it's not coming down. Like Ryan with Cortex Labs, Ryan last week mentioned he has a guy who's got like a 80 SHBG still, and he's been on TRT, and raising the dose just isn't knocking it down. So I think that's like perfect for Proviron. But like we've been talking about here, SHBG has a sweet spot, and it seems like when you drop it below a certain point, especially for certain people, you lose out on many of the benefits you want out of androgens. So if the Proviron use is done in a way that it doesn't crush your SHBG, I would say if it's optimizing your SHBG where you feel better, then it's good. But I wouldn't say it's an automatic add-on. It's highly case dependent.
Before we move on, Christian Garcia, that question that you just come join the Discord and we can talk with you a bit more to help you out, because I think I know what you're trying to do.
I want to take this other guy's question too, this AB.
Yeah, we're gonna do that here.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jay just wanted to mention, come on and check out the Discord for that Christian question. And a lot of people there can help you out, especially Jay. Austin, do you find that secondary sexual characteristics continue to develop if one is running EV Primo, no DHT? Example, no DHT.
So yes, like I've gotten almost all of my masculinization, virilization side effects while not using tests at all. So having no DHT. And specifically my voice. I have recordings here I could show, but my voice completely changed when I added in nandrolone to testosterone for the first time. And it actually seemed like nandrolone caused me to develop the most body hair and deepen my voice the most. So I actually think like I got more masculinizing effects from the fact that nandrolone is just a much stronger androgen, or a stronger androgen than testosterone. And even if it's got a very weak metabolite, I think you can, it depends on the dose you're running, but depending on the dose is able to compensate for its metabolizing to DHN, that's a weak androgen. Because nandrolone itself is stronger, it causes more masculinization. So yes, like even with estradiol and no test, i.e. no DHT, I still was able to get a lot of masculinization. Here, I'll play it a little. Here's a voice of me testing it. I just happened to have a recording back in the day of me saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I tried to repeat it again at the same volume as close as I could get. So here's that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 4. So that's current.
1, 2, 3.
Oh
4.
my God.
Shit.
That's
crazy.
I'll go back.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
No way.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. So
That is wild.
That is wild.
So that was mostly with nandrolone. Yep.
I had the exact same experience. Nandrolone gave me a full octave.
Really?
A year,
No
yeah.
kidding.
I
would have
people used
figured
to
trenbolone would do it.
That's crazy.
I'm sure Trend did too, but I used Deca first. So like
Right.
I kind of got as much change as I was going to get out of it.
Pretty neat.
People heard that.
AB,
That was wild.
he was asking about Primo E2 specifically, though.
I still think Primo could cause it.
Really?
I've gotten hairier on my body when I've run just Primo with estradiol phases.
Okay.
So
yeah, everyone says that nandrolone is female safe because of the androgenic ratio that takes into account its metabolite, but I call bullshit as fuck on that.
I'm still open to it if the dose is kept like very low. I just think the effects might be more detrimental when you go too high. But I'm not. I think you might still be right on that actually. But I've heard somebody like who seems pretty knowledgeable at least say that like it's a factor of the dose. So this is why in the real world it happens. Like nandrolone causes a lot of masculinization in women, but if you keep the dose low.
I would ask why even take it then? Like if you're going to run it low, then you should probably take something else.
I think it's still.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's like wanting to warm your legs, use a blanket. Don't use fire.
It has the same benefits for women that it does men. So it does reduce joint pain and everything, even in very low doses for
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. So I have seen.
That's what I was wondering, if you could even take a high enough dose to get the joint pain relief.
Yeah. So I have seen it be beneficial for females. In fact, interestingly enough, I have a patient coming aboard, a female patient who had a provider prescribing testosterone, and then the provider's not able to do that anymore. So she came and wanted to know if we could do nandrolone for her because it works so well, and it works so much better than testosterone. So she wants to do just nandrolone only. That's
So she would take no testosterone and just nandrolone.
Right, just nandrolone. And it worked
How much of a dose, like, about would that be?
Yeah, I think she was still only taking like 10 to 20 milligrams of nandrolone per week.
What's like
so she's just replacing the test for the nandrolone.
Yeah,
is all she.
Right.
Yeah.
And
where does 5 milligrams of test per week fall for a woman? Is that like all the way on the bottom?
It's just too low of a dose for most females.
Well, okay.
It's too low. I mean, for some females, they would notice something. A lot of females wouldn't notice anything from that. I start females at 10 and then titrate up from there. Most women feel the best around 20 to 30 milligrams.
What kind of total does a 10 result in?
It depends on the female, but I would say anywhere from 100, a little over 100 to, I guess I've seen even 10 bring some females up to a little over 200.
Really? 200? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy how the females process.
Because I have somebody who I'm looking over who's on 5, and their total T is like 131 last I checked.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Was that was on a trough?
Also understand that
I don't actually. I'd have to check on that. But
females process testosterone much more slowly. That's why, like I've seen 50 milligrams a week for a few months straight bring women over 1,000.
Wow.
That's because they process it more slowly. So when you take 50 milligrams a week, it builds on top of each other, and you can see it through the blood work, like slowly just rise. And then when this female started to get some side effects, because this is what happened, right? And I've seen this a couple of times, the same exact scenario. I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times. A female will start a dose. They don't feel anything at the 10 milligrams. So without telling me, they just start increasing. And then all of a sudden, one day, like 3 months later, they're like, okay, I'm having side effects. It's way too much. I'm like, why? What happened? And they tell me, oh, I'm on 50 and I've been doing that for a month. I'm like, why did you get up to 50? When did we decide that? And they're like, well, I didn't do anything. So I just kept increasing the dose. And then they were like, and then like 2 months into it, I felt great. And so I just kept staying on the 50 milligrams because I felt great for a while. And then all of a sudden it was just way too much, right? And then I'll tell them, okay, we'll stop taking it. We got to wait for it to come back down. And it takes like a month later, their level's still like 300 or 400. Right?
Oh, wow. I wonder if their higher SHBG is acting like an ester almost. Because like in general.
And well, at that level too, like a lot of times their SHBG isn't super high. But so I mean, what I've learned from a lot of experience is that females process testosterone cypionate much more slowly than men. So you have to be aware of that. It's like their half-life for testosterone cypionate is more like 1 to 2 weeks, whereas men it's like 2 to 4 days. Right. So you have to be aware of that.
Okay, we got some questions here in the chat that I'd like to get to, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, that's what I was
just started
reading.
popping up on me here. We have from our member Quaz. All right, would there be any drawbacks of someone doing test cream transscrotally as monotherapy for TRT, converting too much of the test into DHT?
It could be for some people, but that's like a lot of the, like, you know, in the 90s when you heard about people doing transdermal TRT, the known way you did it was to take it on the scrotum. So that was like the most popular way to do it at one point, I think.
Yeah. And it's perfectly fine for most people, but there are people who, you get, and I've seen this before, who get too much DHT, and that creates this anxiety and revved up feeling. That's how a lot of them describe it. Revved up feeling where it's a little uncomfortable for them. So, you know, I've seen it, but others, that's a huge benefit because they do really well on increased DHT.
Put it directly on your shaft also, because we have seen studies showing it's like really good for the health of your stuff, and it can actually regenerate, like fix problems and improve erectile function and like undo, like, I'd have to get the link for you. Maybe I'll post on the Discord, but they were showing people that had ED because of structural problems. When they put cream directly on it, it was like able to fix problems and give them a normal function again. which was totally different than serum levels, because this is like a highly concentrated dose directly to the tissue, and it was like miracle for them. So if you're having no issues in the brain, but you're having issues in the anatomy, you could try test cream directly on it. Give it a shot.
That makes sense. Because I mean, with the DHT cream applied directly to the glandular tissue was super effective. So this makes sense here too.
And even so,
the DHT.
Jay showed us studies of people who actually had micro penises, and they were able, because of stunted growth from like Kalman syndrome or other, other syndromes where they're not producing the amount of testosterone that they should. So therefore they had stunted genital growth from when they were developing. Well, even as adults, they were able to put testosterone cream directly on the penis, and it was actually able to grow it was actually able to grow a little bit.
It needs to be
Steve did
standard
a
of care.
protocol on that.
Oh, he did?
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, he did a protocol with DHT cream, looking to see if he had any increases, and it was a pretty in-depth protocol that he did for quite some time. The gains were minor. He said, nothing like worth writing home about, but there were some gains.
I didn't either from it. So
yeah.
Wait,
and for all the work he had to do, they were very, very minimal, to the point where he was like, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
These studies were on people that were deficient, and they had a.
Oh yeah.
Like,
no, I know
I'm
you guys
assuming
talking about something
like,
completely different.
Guys going on dates, and girls are like, "All right, I really like you. Let's have some fun." And then the pants come down. They're like, "Oh, you poor thing. Bless your heart. What's wrong?" And it's like, it's so bad. Like, I think for them, it would probably be a dramatic difference, and it might even get them to the point where they can have a normal relationship without that weight on their shoulders of he thinks it's tiny.
Oh yeah.
That's
completely different than what Steve was doing.
Yeah. So I think that should be standard of care, because it's not. Like, there's nowhere in the standard of care that says if someone has a micro penis, you give them test cream. It's not a thing.
And it should be, yeah.
It should be, especially in kids.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair. These heartless monsters are just like, oh, you're gonna grow up with a 1 centimeter penis. Oh, I don't care. It's not in my playbook to do that, so I'm not gonna do it. When we have studies showing you could give that kid enough size where he could actually have penetrative sex as an adult.
I know.
And you're not helping them.
And not that I recommend this, but 1,000 milligrams of trenbolone with estradiol seems to be just as effective at doing that. So not that they should do that.
Now let me ask you this, Austin, real quick. When you're running these high doses of androgens, especially Trent, do you have like what some people would call delayed ejaculation, or just can't come at all straight up? Like you could just go forever, literally.
No. Like no. Like no.
No, that's never happened.
If anything, amazing. It was like when I was natural. That is
you were natural, you had that problem. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You really are an outlier. That's
somebody who reacts really well to androgens, folks. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, like really well.
Really,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Like I don't feel anything from that except for like the 19 North. Like I do get the what seems to be like the progesterone related side effects, like, or what people say are the shift to emotions or libido, for example, like that I can detect there's something. But if I'm just taking like 3,000 milligrams of boldenone or even 100 milligrams of Halo, I don't notice anything from those.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's great.
Okay, we got quite a few questions here in the chat. Let me take our member questions first, and we'll start with Zoniac. No, that's not even a question. He's just letting us know that the vibes are anabolic tonight. Thanks, Zoniac. We're gonna do that because I know we have other ones in here.
Zionic's been great. We really appreciate you, Zionic.
Zionic. What did I say? I said
it. Yeah, before we get too carried away from the female topic, Ruben Baca was asking here, how old was the female taking nandrolone, and do you remember how much estrogen she took, and were they injections?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So this female specifically, She took it when years ago, like probably actually 10 to 15 years ago. And she was not taking any, just nandrolone. She didn't have to take any estrogen. And you know, there's no, for females, there's not a negative feedback loop for testosterone and estrogen production. So you can take estrogen and or testosterone and your estrogen doesn't reduce at all. So you can take nandrolone and your estrogen. It's not like men where we need to take testosterone with nandrolone, or we at least need to substitute estrogen because it will shut off.
No, that's not true.
For what?
If a woman takes estrogen, LH and FSH go down still.
If a woman takes estrogen, yeah, not
or an androgen or testosterone too. It just takes,
it doesn't,
like
it does not affect their estrogen production. Testosterone doesn't. Not universally. Now, I'm not going to say there isn't an individual case where it happened, but
yeah, I would assume like that's because, or like, yeah, I don't like challenge you on it, but like I've heard like, if given long enough, like from people I've talked to, like, and on long enough and on high enough of a dose, like you will lose your period just like birth control, and it will only come back when you either remove the anabolic, or that's like the only time that it'll start again. But like, it's like when you think about the doses most females take, like if they're taking 10 milligrams of test or 10 milligrams of Anavar a day or 10 milligrams of test a week, that might be just below like the amount to
I'm
be
talking about
suppressive.
therapeutic doses, right? So yeah, if
but that's
female,
so then you taught me something then in that case. So
yeah, if you have a bodybuilder female, like and you take high doses of androgens for a long period of time, yes, it will screw up their their cycle.
Really? But so like in a like in a TRT HRT setting, it really isn't enough?
No.
Wow. That's so okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're making an assumption here that the androgens interrupting the menstruation is because of impacts on estrogen and progesterone.
Right. It may not be.
How are we doing that though? Did we have lab work that showed that, or is there actually a case that maybe the androgens are so anabolic that the uterine lining is being impacted from the androgens such that they don't break down?
Yeah, that's actually what I would say is more the reason, because I mean, even if we give a therapeutic dose of testosterone, again, the females are getting up to 200 testosterone level of 200 or so, and there's no impact on the estradiol level that and I have a vast amount of experience from that. Now there does seem to be some issue with the interruption of the cycle, especially the higher the dose, and it could be something more like what Jay just said. Now, usually the cycle is not interrupted with therapeutic doses, but sometimes it like delays a little bit, and then their cycle changes, just changes timing. I've seen that before, but not always. Usually it does. Usually the cycle isn't affected at all either for the therapeutic doses. Now, bodybuilders is different. When we start taking really high doses, like things change.
Wow, that's so crazy to me to learn.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, sorry. The question. So the original question is like, so how about nandrolone, right? So, this female that we're talking about, look, I did have an extended conversation with her, so I did find this information out. When she was first taking nandrolone, it was like 10 years ago or so. She was not taking any estradiol, just nandrolone. That's it, and it was really effective. She's tried taking just testosterone in the interim, and it just doesn't have the effects that it does. And it's mainly because, especially because we were talking about Dr. Edward Lichten, and he specifically did. She has an inflammatory disease, like specifically, not only is it joint pain, but it is either Crohn's disease or celiac disease that it really helped. That's nandrolone really helped. And Dr. Edward Lichten showed that some of these anabolics, specifically like nandrolone and stanozolol, really helped these inflammatory diseases, like more so than other androgens or any other treatment that they had. So he was using it specifically for an androgen. She said it not only did it it might have been, was it arthritis? Man, I can't remember. But specifically, it really helped her inflammatory disease. I can't remember which one she had. But it also she just, not only did it help her inflammatory disease, but she just felt so much better. She did not get these dramatic effects with just testosterone. So she was just using Nandrolone to answer Ruben's question. She's older now, and I think she's gone into menopause. So the possibility of us having to add Nandrolone and estrogen is probable. We haven't started treating her yet, but we will. I think she's on my list to give a consultation to.
So I
What's
posted
this study?
This study is about super physiological doses of testosterone impairing the expression and distribution of sex steroid receptors in the endometrium. But it's a rat study, but it's like showing that the androgens can interrupt the signaling in there. And so I think we should actually put this topic on pause, and this might make for a good topic because it's looking like both of you could be right. And there could be different situations because this is some complicated shit, and I'm getting a lot of studies here.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I mean, certainly, I think what Austin is saying is true. Like, it interrupts cycles, right? It interrupts female cycles. But
I know. Oh no, I was thinking, like, I was so shocked because I was just mind blown by that. Like, I've conditioned into my mind at least that. Any dose you take, it doesn't matter. You're shut down. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, let's say you replace a man with 20 milligrams a week. That's enough to shut him down, but it's going to be lower than that. Right. I, thought the same was true for women. Yeah. And then, like, the bit I looked into it, I saw, the LH and FSH get suppressed too.
It does.
I don't know enough of the specifics to see if, like, at what dose this occurs, if it occurs at the same dose as with a male, or I just assumed that they worked like how birth control works, because that is how hormonal birth control works, is by providing negative feedback through being a progestin and an estrogen.
Yeah, and that's correct.
Shuts down.
Estrogen, if you endogenous estrogen, progesterone does affect the endogenous production, but testosterone doesn't for females. Now, obviously for males, if you give them, it does shut down.
Oh wow, yeah. So that that was just mind blowing to me. So that was where my strong reaction comes from.
Yeah, the negative feedback loop is not the same for females.
Wow. So it's got to be much less sensitive in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing that it is a thing. But I think the thing is, women have a little different situation because they've got ovaries and adrenal glands, and they're getting a lot of hormones from DHEA, and there's a lot of enzymes involved.
Yeah. So
even if the HPTA is being suppressed a bit, there's still other ways to get some hormones.
I mean, I can show you studies that. Well, the first thing is I can show you just a few decades of evidence that their estrogen and progesterone is not affected by testosterone alone. Again, in therapeutic doses. And I can also show you a study that shows that there appears to be no effect from testosterone on estrogen and progesterone production.
The studies I'm showing, they are using the word super physiological.
And also, you got to think too, it's harder to check an estrogen level for a female too, unless she's shut down completely and after menopause, because like the level can vary from like 70 picograms per milliliter to 350, all in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so I could see a situation potentially where, like, you check her level and it's at 70 and you're like, oh, it's in range. And then you check another time, it's at 350 and you're like, well, it's in range, but I would be curious still to see what, like, have you actually checked the gonadotropins in these women who are just using testosterone only? Like, that's the part I would be most curious about.
LH and FSH, and you're right. Part of the problem is that they are continuously fluctuating in that. But so, what I've seen is that there is not. It's hard to check, right? Exactly.
Yeah. But, well, like I would expect to see this, I guess, to make it easier. Is like based on this is on my own thinking. I'm not saying I think this now, but that's why I was so mind blown. Is I was thinking like 10 milligrams testosterone per week, LH and FSH are going to be 0. That's how I was thinking.
Oh yeah, but that doesn't happen. No.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
okay.
and it would for a man. You're right, and it is different for females. Like if you
Wow.
right, if you give them even 10 or 20 milligrams of testosterone, their LH and FSH does not go to 0 like it does for a man.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Then new
I
knowledge
did
for me.
a study here about transgender men where 10 to 23% continue to have bleeding because their testosterone dose is not high enough. So they want to give them enough testosterone where it shuts down their estrogen production.
Perfect. Perfect example.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
they're being given, it says they're being given like cream or gel. So these poor bastards are being once again failed. And they're just like, here, rub a little dab of gel on your arm once a day. And so then they have all these problems because it's
Right.
not being consistently elevated. They
Mhm.
need injections.
So, oh man, that's like the perfect example. I didn't even think of that. Like, so, you know, I was wrong on that. Like, that's just so shocking to me. I can't believe that.
That's where I go to learn about hormones across genders. Is when I wanted to learn about estrogen in men, I'm like, I'm going to the transgender women community because that's where people of male sex are taking high estrogen. These people are like, my estrogen's so high, it's 40. I'm like, what happens when it's 800? Let's find out. Oh, no one died. Oh, they did it for 20 years straight. Like, they tell you that you're going to have heart disease, you're going to have prostate cancer, you're going to have breast cancer. You got to keep your estrogen below 30. And I said, well, how come some people can have it at 800 and it doesn't happen? So then we look at the trans man community to get the answers of what happens when someone with XX chromosome takes high doses of testosterone. Well, are they getting high rates of breast cancer? Are they getting all these other things? Like, that's where you go to look. And then you take that data back and you say, why are you afraid of 100 nanograms per deciliter, girl?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, people are fear mongering for no reason.
Yeah.
I wonder what those open girls take. Like, I wonder.
Yeah, it's probably a lot.
I bet they. Well, I don't know if they'd tell you if you asked.
But I wonder, did they
Yeah,
have
horny-
full, like, do they have body hair to the same level as transgender?
I'm sure they do, but
men
it's
have?
you can just
Like,
get lasered
they
though.
lasered it off, right? Okay.
That shit's expensive, very expensive
Yeah.
to get the laser treatment. I mean, they could use probably just hair removal cream and things of that sort. Get a lot
It
cheaper.
smells terrible. Yeah.
Oh, I know that stuff's terrible. I've used it.
I'm on team One Blade, so that's what I'm using. even though it
Anyways,
sucks at cutting my hair, but
Okay. So the original question was still about Nandrolone. So Nandrolone and females. So yeah, so this specific Nandrolone, like now she's probably going to need Nandrolone and estrogen, but not because Nandrolone shuts down estrogen production when you take it in females. So I've given females for the same reasons we would give a man Nandrolone. I've given it to females, and they don't need estrogen unless they're menopausal, right? Unless they need it. Anyways, right? So you can just give a female Nandrolone, and I've actually had a lot of beneficial and positive results from that.
that's
all right.
that's so interesting.
I'm gonna go back to the chat here. We got Rick Diaz. I think that's from the Facebook group. Yeah, it has to be. It can't be a coincidence. I invited him to come down tonight and ask some questions. Let's start with this one real quick. The difference between low E2 symptoms and CNS sympathetic drive.
Good question.
Oh, well, they could be the same, and I think I've expressed this before, is that could be the reason why people experience anxiety when they have high E2. It could be the sympathetic overdrive. We're slowing down the COMT and MAO process so much that we have too many catecholamines, too much norepinephrine.
He said low E2 though.
I think Ryan meant to say
yeah,
low.
he did. So, okay. So that was my explanation of why people get anxiety when they have high E2.
Right.
But, and as we just discussed, though, like, it's strange that the symptomology of low E2 is very similar to high E2.
We
Right, so
talked about this in the chat this morning. You guys remember? We talked about this guy in the chat, and I was saying, or I think it was yesterday, and you guys went on about how E2 can cause overheating because of the added, or not E2. You said added androgens could cause heat. The guy who was waking up at night sweating.
Yeah,
I believe this is him, because we were chatting more today. Early this morning, we were chatting privately for a while, and I was like, "Yeah, bro, that sounds more like CNS sympathetic drive." Than OE2. So that's why he's asking what's the difference between the symptoms.
Damn, I don't get any of these.
They would be very similar. That's why it's really hard to decipher like what's the cause of this. So yeah, I mean it would be like, and I've certainly made the mistake of thinking somebody with high E2 because they're experiencing like symptoms of sympathetic overdrive. And I would think, oh, your estrogen is too high, so we'll lower it. And it turns out their estrogen was too low, and it went the wrong way. So you know, I've been guilty of that before. So I think they would be very similar. It'd be hard to determine the difference between the two.
I mean,
so then if you're looking to correct it, you'd probably just check your labs first to make sure before there was either low or high. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Austin.
No, we said it at the same time. I think with the delay, but I echoed what you said. The right answers. That's how you troubleshoot it. Is you would check the labs and then try a little bit higher. Check the labs again. Try a little bit higher. You know, and keep going.
Okay, we're going to take this next one here from Zachariah. Why do DHE derivatives reduce side effects on 19 NORs?
I have a speculation, but I don't think this happens for everybody. But some people get dopaminergic downregulation from 19 NORs, and androgens in general raise them. So even though 19 NORs are androgens, it's possible that like through whatever satellite effects they have, if they lower dopamine, adding androgens on top, especially androgens that don't aromatize and don't thus raise serotonin levels, androgens just raise dopamine. So it would restore some of that balance that you've lost by adding in the 19 NOR.
Interesting.
Ryan, Jay?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I don't have an answer for that one. I never really thought of using DHT derivatives for.
I don't either, but I have heard people say that. I've heard people mention that.
It makes sense. What you said just makes sense.
Like people, I never thought about it till now, but a lot of things like Masteron is known as like the feel good, and you take it if you aren't feeling good on DECA or Tren.
All right, we got a super chat here from Ruben Baca. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it, Ruben.
Thanks, Ruben.
Let's see, who wins in a fight? A kangaroo on a cheek drops or baby T-Rex on Tren? And how much for a Hormones for Me t-shirt? Come on, when are they on sale?
We gotta get him. I gotta get Ruben some t-shirts. I have that on a note over here on one of these. Like I have like a million post-it notes, and one of them is to get Ruben a t-shirt. So I'm gonna get to that.
That's hilarious.
What is check drop again? I remember that name. I can't remember what they are.
Mebalarone. It's a 19 NOR. It's a methylated or 17A alkylated 19 NOR, super popular powerlifting drug. People often lump it in alongside Halo, M-Tren, or check drops are the thing. And I'm pretty sure check drops are methylated trestolone. But to answer this silly question, if I'm the kangaroo and I respond to how I do on orals, which isn't very much, even the Trek drops aren't going to have me beat the baby T-Rex. So, I don't really get a lot of that.
The kangaroo's not a baby, though. So my money's on the kangaroo.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Unless the kangaroo is a baby, then the T-Rex will win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if the kangaroo is an adult, that T-Rex is fucked if that kangaroo is an adult.
Yeah, but yeah, it's athletic prowess hasn't developed yet, then yeah, maybe the kangaroo has it.
Yeah, being a baby kind of screws the T-Rex over in this example.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, what else we got here? Thanks for that super chat, by the way, Ruben. And I'm gonna make sure that Ryan gets a shirt out to you one way or another. I'm gonna text him every day and remind him just for you.
Oh my gosh, it's right here. Can you read it?
He's got a note for Ruben. Look at that.
T-shirt.
Oh, I need one. I need one of those.
All right.
We can make a TeePublic shop in 10 minutes and upload the JPEGs, and it could be ready to go in under an hour.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
Well, I would love your help doing that because we've been trying to set the T-shirt.
You can't drop ship. That's why you don't want to. I mentioned it like 5 months ago. You didn't want to do it because it can't be put on your website. It has to be kept on their website.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the roadblock we keep running into.
Drop shipping.
I was saying, like, we don't need to make people just want their shirts. Maybe we don't need to make a profit. Maybe they can just get their merch.
Yeah.
In the meantime.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I mean,
it's still $2 a shirt.
Free advertising.
You can keep them at my house.
Yeah.
I'll do it for 5 shirts a month.
Yeah, we could do
I can cut the sleeves off.
5 shirts a month.
Yeah, we could do that.
Anyways, we got Rick Diaz back again. Would E2 be beneficial to raise SHBG? Why not just use it for simply all the benefits overall, CV, etc.?
So higher E2 in general raises SHBG. So if you're on even TRT and you start lowering your estrogen, your SHBG will go down. And the higher your estrogen is, the higher your SHBG will sustain. So I guess it really doesn't matter where your E2 comes from. Like, generally, most people are able to get more than enough E2 with just test. So, like, there would be no reason to use estradiol exogenously in that situation. Because if you just took more on top of it, you would end up with undesirable side effects. But, like, yeah, E2 is beneficial, so that's why it's important to find the balance, when you're using tests. But I don't think like the benefits E2 has to offer are separate from taking it exogenously. It just has to be there, regardless of whatever form it comes.
Yeah. So and the answer to the question is yes. E2 would be beneficial or is SHBG. Yeah.
I mean, and for me, I don't aromatize testosterone enough to get enough E2 to where I feel best. So like, that's actually what started this whole thing for me, is like, I got it so I could get my estradiol above 40, 45 actually, but.
Okay. Okay, we got another one here in the chat. I was just looking at the new comments here. This one here is from AB. Excuse me. Thoughts on T3 monotherapy year-round for nutrient partitioning, staying lean when bulking?
I'm not opposed to it if you take T4 with it.
Why would you stay lean while bulking, though? I don't understand that. It's like cutting while you're bulking, right?
Well, like enhanced nutrient partitioning, it implies like you get more muscle to fat ratio. Like, so your food is able to be better partitioned to lean tissue instead of fat, which thyroid hormones are do to a certain extent.
You said do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do. But taking T3 on its own, some tissues prefer, it seems like, to convert with the deiodinase enzymes T4 into T3 inside of the cells. So if you're just taking T3 to have sufficient circulating T3 levels, you could actually still have some tissues that are deprived of adequate thyroid activity. And I don't know if this is true too, but I think you can also convert more T3 to reverse T3 if you don't somehow have T4 there. That part I'm not sure on, but I never would recommend taking T3 without T4 anymore.
That's interesting. I actually didn't ever think of that. That's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, so back in when was it? I don't know, the 2000s, anywhere from 2000 to 2010, bodybuilders used to just take T3 all the time. It was like really
I
popular.
know. I'm sure that was able to be done probably to some level. Like people used to take 200 micrograms of like
Yeah.
T3 and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet that might be because of the reverse T3 that you get disproportionately
It's
when
possible.
you take it by itself.
Yeah, and you're very, very possibly right. And like, I've told you this, Austin. Like, some of my theory as to why
Right.
it works so well is because it probably increased SHBG like that much. But
Right.
my point was that nobody ever took that for a long periods of time. Like when you took T3 by itself, they just ran it in cycles, right? So my point was that it didn't seem sustainable to people. It wasn't something that people just did for long periods of time because they were like, oh, this works so well, I should just keep doing it, right? So I don't know if it would be kind of like Austin is alluding to. I don't know if it's sustainable to just take T3 for a year. And so I would agree with him. Run some T4 and just a little bit of T3, if you would like. And that's,
I mean, I think some people do. Some people are prescribed just T3 for their thyroid replacement. Like that still happens. I just don't. It might not be optimal.
right.
I was going to
I
say
got a
something.
great question here, guys.
Um,
What are your
already-
thoughts on weed nightly? He's a nightly user. Me too, my friend. Me too.
in theory, like I feel like I should take this one, guys. But or it seems like
Yeah,
Eric could.
That's
Eric
meant
could
for you.
too.
Yeah, I probably could, but go ahead.
Well, I'll throw it to you after. But I've never looked into this enough to be confident in it. But the idea is that the THC disrupts, what is it? Is it REM sleep or the deep sleep? See, I don't even know, but I think it's like connected to lowering. one of
REM
the
sleep is restorative sleep. So yeah,
They're both restorative, but like deep
yeah,
sleep
no,
and REM sleep are both
actually-
restorative, but do different things. But I never used to get that. Like I felt like I was a daily user, and I'm not a daily user anymore, but I don't really feel like I got any negative impacts to my sleep, except I just had no dreams. But
Really? No dreams.
if I was using it daily, I didn't have any dreams. And then like if I stopped, oh man, the craziest dreams you could ever imagine.
That was interesting because I use herb a lot. Whether
And you
it be,
still
yeah, I
you
dream.
still get dreams? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I hear
Yeah.
this from like a lot of people too who are regular. Do you smoke like do you smoke or do you vaporize or use edibles or
Smoke, I vape, eat gummies, whatever.
okay. Do you do it
Yeah.
like multiple times every day or just kind of at night?
Suppositories.
Mainly at night.
Okay, that might be why. Because like
Yeah.
I'm thinking of people who like would do like 1/8 of a gram a day of flour.
Oh no, nothing
or
like
like
that.
chronic dabbers. Like I used to just use only dabs like constantly.
Yeah.
Because like as a grower, like you want to sell your flowers because that's the more valuable part. But I had on like unlimited trim, so I would just use the trim to make dabs with, and it was basically free, unlimited as much as I wanted.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost Jay.
Mhm.
I think he's just going to the bathroom.
Yeah, just-
Okay.
Mhm.
I got this. I wanted to pull this up here, Ryan, because I think we're going to be wrapping it up here in a few minutes. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. This is from Eamon. So he was just saying that he's got Amazon merch account and he'd be willing to help you out for no profit to get your name out. If you want to
That's
sell some of
really-
your t-shirts. So what do you
that's
think?
really-
Maybe have them contact you?
Yeah,
Or email?
yeah. You can comment. That's really generous. Yeah. Very generous,
Anything
yeah.
to start getting that out there because
Yeah.
a lot of people are looking for the shirts and
Yeah.
that is advertising.
And yeah.
I want a mug. I want a Hormones for Me mug. And,
Yeah.
Speedos, bathing suits. You can do
yeah.
all kinds of things. Straws.
Versa
Hormones for Me
grips.
straws. What's that?
Versa grips, like
Oh,
know,
now we're
Renaissance.
getting that'd be good.
like
Yeah.
Renaissance periodization when they got sponsored by Versa grips as the custom.
Have you used
RP.
them?
Oh, yeah.
I've actually never used name brand Versa grips, but I do use straps every time I do back. So yeah, but I never use the Versa grips.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll let you know. I'm going to put the email right in the description or right in the chat right now. So if it lets me, it should.
I'd be interested to see if it does. It may not. It may not let you post it.
We'll find out. Yeah,
Oh, it did. Oh, you spelled it wrong.
Did I? All right, it's support@hormonesforme.com. I got my keyboard sideways.
Hormones.
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right, Austin, it was great having you on, man.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure. I'm just looking to grab a link, guys. That's all. All right, we'll have to do it after. Anyhow, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Ryan, if you, Jay, anything you'd like to say to the audience, that'd be great. First, before we do that, I want to remind everybody again, we got the members meeting, the Zoom meeting this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. We have it scheduled for an hour, but we'll go for 90 minutes to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak. And if you are not a member through the membership program and you are interested in checking out the Zoom meeting, see if it'd be something that you'd maybe want to join, just hit me up at Erick, ERICK, at hormonesforme.com, and I will get you that link so you could join in on the fun on Sunday. All right. So, yeah, Ryan, Jay, Austin, please send it off.
I got
everybody.
I'm so sorry.
It's none of our faults, but I'll go last, or no, I'll go second to last. Okay.
I just wanted to ask everybody to please send us your thoughts on what you want us to make for the non-live stream content, so we can put our time and resources into something that you guys really want. So let us know, do you want education? Do you want live reactions? Do you want like what can we do that would really make you guys feel happy? And thank you for being here, and thank you for being so nice to each other. I cannot believe that we have no rotten eggs at all. Like you guys are perfect. We're so lucky to have you, and we appreciate you so much. So thank you for being here. And your turn.
Yeah, everybody here is really great and really nice. It's kind of amazing because you don't see that on the internet that much. It was actually funny. The first time I did this podcast with you guys, there was only one mean comment. I actually found it like I really laughed out loud at it, but they were talking about like I always look like I'm about to cry because I don't have DHT. Like,
I remember that.
They're like, clearly you could get plenty jacked without DHT, but somebody give this guy some DHT because he looks like he's gonna cry, which is just
I remember that comment too. Yeah, you were cracking up.
It's such a clever way to roast somebody. But yeah, thanks guys. Thank you again. I really love doing this. So I love you guys.